Welcome back, Patriots, to the Ball Brad Show. It is Thursday, April 18th, and Joe Biden. Good old Joey. The geriatric, the puppet, the child sniffer. The guy that hits a golf ball backwards, falls up a flight of stairs so many times that the Secret Service has this guy taking the short stairs to get on Air Force One. I had no idea there was a short staircase to get in the Air Force One. This is the guy that looks for dead people in the crowd. He converses with dead people. I still can't figure that one out. Joe Biden's apparently clairvoyant or like a psychic or something. It doesn't even make sense to him, but somehow he's doing it. He takes photos with people, folks, at events that were never there in the first place. They weren't even in the same state, and somehow this guy's taking photos with them. It doesn't make sense, folks, and it doesn't make sense in his mind either. But, this is a guy that was elected president. How that happened, I think we all know, but he is still the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's great to be back with you on this fine Thursday morning. And boy, oh boy, we're going to kick it off with a video here of John Kennedy asking Attorney General Merrick Garland, hey, why did Hunter Biden not pay taxes on $1 million? And why is he writing off things like for prostitutes and sex toys and stuff like that? Here we go.
Mr. Hunter Biden did not pay taxes on $1 million in 2014 and 2015. And he deducted payments from his income tax for personal expenses when he did file. For hookers, for a Lamborghini, for strip clubs, for sex clubs, for porn website memberships. Why did the Department of Justice let the statute of limitations run?
As you well know, Senator.
So you can't prosecute?
As you well know, Senator, that investigation is being conducted by Mr. Weiss, who was appointed by President Trump to be the U.S. Attorney in Delaware. Much of the investigation you're talking about occurred during the previous administration under Mr. Weiss. Mr. Weiss has continued his investigations. It's now a special counsel. He will issue a report which
So are
will
you saying
explain
it's
those,
Trump's fault?
which will explain. No, I don't know whether there's fault or not. Mr. Weiss will explain this in his report.
But we can't. Mr. Hunter Biden walks free on not paying taxes on $1 million from 2014 and 15 because the Department of Justice let it happen, right?
I'm not going to comment on decisions made.
Yeah, he's not going to comment. Of course he's not, because we all know what's going on here. He's not going to tell you the truth. You think this guy's going to tell you the truth here? This guy doesn't know his ass from his mouth. Are you kidding me? It's the same guy that said he wasn't colluding with Joe Biden to go after Donald Trump. Anybody gonna believe this guy? I don't think so. I don't think so. We all know Hunter Biden's corrupt. Folks, he was riding off with prostitutes on his tax return. I used to do taxes. I've never even heard of that. Oh my God. This is the Biden White House. This is the Biden family corruption. So we're not getting any support from the Democrats, which, go figure. And we're definitely not getting any supports from the Republican Party, which, again, it just shows you how weak the Republicans are nowadays. And I'm a registered Republican myself, and I'm willing to call out my own party here. Well, in other news, kind of the big news of the day, Democrats here kill both articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. It just shows you how disgusting the Democrat Party is and how corrupt they are and how they are not for the American people. They've never been for the American people. They've always gone against the American people. And that's why I've always been astonished how somebody in their right mind could be Democrat. I really don't understand. Like, it would make more sense for you to go from the Democrat Party to being an independent. That actually makes sense. But both articles of impeachment here against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas were deemed unconstitutionally by the Senate on Wednesday in 2 party line votes. I mean, they literally voted along party lines. And I kind of want to go through both articles here just so you kind of know what's going on and how insane it was that they sat there and did something like this. I mean, the Democrat Party. So Article 1 here alleges Mayorkas willfully and systematically refused to comply with the law. Folks, he's a part of the executive branch. He did willfully and systematically refuse to comply with the law. You don't get 7.2 million people that we know of coming across the border without doing this. Like, that just doesn't happen. It says he ignored congressional law and that in large part, because of his unlawful conduct, millions of aliens have illegally entered the United States on an annual basis, with many unlawfully remaining in the United States, meaning he still has not executed the laws in the books to deport people that aren't supposed to be here in the first place. He has not done his job any which way you look at it. And according to the Democrat Party, he has. It does not take a rocket scientist to look at this, that this guy should be impeached. And I think held for treason, by the way, along with Joe Biden. I think there's a strong case to be made that Joe Biden is committing treason, along with DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. And clearly the Democrat Party, when we get to that, wait till we get to Ted Cruz going ballistic on the Senate floor. I've never seen the dude so pissed on the Senate floor. It tries to pin the border crisis firmly on the shoulders of the Biden administration and Mayorkas for delivering it. Correct. I mean, who else are you going to pin it on? Trump? I mean, the Biden administration's been trying to do that, but who else are you going to blame it on? Now, here's the second article. Breach of public trust. It says Mayorkas knowingly made false statements and knowingly obstructed lawful oversight of the Department of Homeland Security and to obfuscate the results of his willful and systematic refusal to comply with the law. You guys, he lied to Congress. We have it on tape. He said the border was secure. In what world is the border secure? In what world? Well, the Democrat Party's world, clearly, because they're the ones that pulled this off. They're the ones that did this. So you have Cruz here. Senator Ted Cruz slammed Democrats this week as impeachment proceedings for the Department of Homeland Security for DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas have begun in the upper chambers of Congress. Now, again, the Democrat Party voted to keep this guy, or rather not to impeach him. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this, but then I want to show you the clip of Ted Cruz losing his ish on the Senate floor. This part comes from his podcast Verdict. It says Democrats are willing to throw the Constitution in the trash in order to avoid any national attention on the disaster that is playing out on our southern border. Now, his reasoning for the Democrats throwing the Constitution in the trash actually makes sense as to why they would do it. Cruz said that he believes that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is going to try to cover up the border crisis by trying to avoid having a trial in the Senate because, key point, he doesn't want the House managers to present any evidence. Well, what's that evidence? What could make the Democrat Party look so bad? What could make Chuck Schumer look so bad? Nancy Pelosi was previously in Congress. All the Democrat Party, including the Biden administration, well, right here. Schumer and the Democrats are terrified of the evidence of the suffering of the people who've died, of the children who've been sexually assaulted, of the women who've been sexually assaulted, of the fentanyl deaths and the drug overdoses, the sex trafficking, the drug trafficking, the violent gang members pouring across the border, the evidence of terrorists presently in our country in the hundreds that are sleeper cells. He doesn't want that evidence to put forth before the American people. Oh, no, because it's all about votes, you guys. They need the votes. And if they could sit there and obfuscate justice, which should have been delivered on the behalf of the American people through the Senate, right here, through impeachment, they don't want this to happen. Oh, no. And he continued to say, why does Chuck Schumer want to avoid trial? Because he's desperate to protect the Democrat senators on the ballot from the consequences from the deaths and suffering and people who are suffering misery because of their open border politics and policies, which they intend to continue. And Schumer, this is all about political camouflage. And he's not wrong, you guys. He is not wrong. And here's Ted Cruz losing his ish on the Senate floor. Folks, this is like Cruz right now is really walking a fine line between just like ballistically cussing and going beyond the rules of what you're supposed to be doing on the Senate floor. This dude walks the fine line here. And I'm going to give him a lot of time, a few minutes here, and you can watch the rest of it at Forbes News. So here we go.
In the 237 years of our nation's history, I don't know that there has been a more shameful day in the United States Senate than today. What we just witnessed was a travesty. It was a travesty to the United States Constitution, and it was a travesty to the American people.
Correct.
And it's important to understand why the Democrats did what they did. We're here on the Senate floor right now, but I want the record to reflect I'm going to do a very accurate count of the number of Democrats who are with us. That would be 0, other than the presiding officer and somebody has to preside. Not a single Democrat senator chose to come to this floor and listen to one word of evidence. When it comes to the Constitution, the Democrats concluded that Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas, defying federal law, ignoring the text of the statute, deliberately releasing criminal illegal aliens over and over and over again, that's just hunky-dory. You can't.
Of course it is, Ted, because it's all about amnesty in the future and converting all these people into registered Democrat voters. And hell, in some areas and localities, they want them to vote in municipal elections. It's all about votes. It's wild. The Democrats could care less about this country.
Impeach him for that. Every Democrat just voted. By the way, every cabinet member, guess what? You've just been given a blank slate. Ignore the law. When Democrats are in charge of the Senate, the entire cabinet could ignore the law. It is no longer impeachable in Democrat wonderland when a member of the executive branch openly defies the law. By the way, every Democrat just voted that way. They didn't hear one word of argument. The majority leader didn't stand up and say, here's the reason why it's okay. No, he didn't present that argument. They didn't read a brief.
Remember when the Democrats were, follow the science, get the jab, get the vaccine, or get out of the country, follow the science, follow the evidence. They don't want to follow evidence. Case in point right here. They're not for America, you guys. You're a second-class citizen in your own country. Come on.
Nobody wrote a brief. They didn't care enough to know what Senator Lee just laid out, that the Biden Department of Justice went in front of the U.S. Supreme Court and said if the executive defies the law, the answer is impeachment. The willingness of every Democrat to be blatantly hypocritical. Just last year, the Biden Justice Department said, no, you can't sue in court when we, the Biden administration, defy the law. The answer is impeachment. In like three-card money. Every Senate Democrat said, no, the answer is not impeachment. I don't know what it is. Actually, I do know what it is. There's only one answer left, which is everyone who is unhappy about the open border shows up in November, and to use the phrase, throw the bums out. Because,
folks, there's a lot more. He goes on for 10 plus more minutes, and he just reams the Democrat Party, and actually might just throw this video up on the Bald Brad show, or at least the Bald Brad channel, for you guys to watch the entire 13 minutes, because I think Ted Cruz deserves that 13 minutes, because the man's speaking on behalf of the American people, which is so rare nowadays, on both sides of the aisle. We're getting so reamed as a country right now from these politicians. It's frustrating as hell. Oh, it's really frustrating. And it's not just us getting reamed, you guys. It's also Donald Trump. So AG Barr, and I've held off talking about this for a little bit, rips political Trump hush money case. It's not hush money, you guys. Don't let the Democrats let you use that term hush money. It's not hush money, okay? Hush money sounds bad. He didn't do anything wrong. It's one of the most insane things happening right now. It says real threat to democracy is progressive left. God, it sounds a lot like the book I wrote here. How the left is destroying America. You guys, I'm telling you right now, if you already read this book and you got yourself, you are so far ahead of the game, it's head spinning. Okay, we wrote this a year ago, about a year, almost to the day, about a year and a month. Okay, came out March 13th of last year. Pick yourself up a copy. I'm telling you, it's going to equip you, because you're seeing what the Justice Department's doing, folks. They're taking over, and they're sitting there and wielding the Justice Department as a political club. Former Attorney General Bill Barr slammed New York prosecutor for the obviously political Trump hush money case, calling it an abomination as jury selection continues in the landmark case, or trial, rather. Barr, who led the Department of Justice under Donald Trump, argued the case signals what the real threat to democracy is, in his opinion, the excesses of the progressive left. And by the way, what we try to do is separate the Democrat Party from the progressive left, but the progressive left is an outgrowth of the Democrat Party. And as they become an outgrowth of the Democrat Party continues to try to almost match or keep up with the progressive left. That's why you're seeing the Democrat Party not show up for what's going on with the southern border. You think they care about all the sex trafficking, drug trafficking that's taking place, the violent gang members pouring across, killing Americans every single week? You think they care about it's collapsing the infrastructure of our states? You think they care about all that? Clearly not. They don't even show up. They don't even show up to work. What do you mean? You can't say they care. They don't even show up. They voted for you to continue to keep getting reamed. If they're willing to do this to Donald Trump, you guys, you have to understand they're willing to do it to you. The case is an abomination. It's obviously political. 7 years after he pays hush money to try to come up with this case, it's also, as you could say, it's not that far-fetched. They're trying to predict it on a federal crime which wasn't prosecuted. And they're wrong about it. This was not a campaign contribution. They're just wrong on the law. But to me, this shows that the real threat to liberty, the real threat to our system, are the excesses of the political left or progressive left. Same thing. They're perverting the law of justice, and that's where the danger lies, the corruption and subversion of our institutions by the far left, which is why I wrote, again, I'm going to keep plugging this because if you haven't gotten this yet, this bad boy shows you in all avenues how the left is destroying this country, and that's exactly what Barr's talking about here. It's not, folks, it's not just in our justice system. It's in the executive branch. It's in the judicial branch. It's in the legislature. It's in the localities. It's everywhere, you guys. This country is falling apart, and we have to be able to recognize where is it falling apart so we can fix it. And right now, you should be terrified. I really do mean this. I'm not trying to be an alarmist. You should be terrified what you're seeing from the progressive left, from the education level that they have a stronghold on, to the media, of which they have a stronghold on, to the executive branch. Clearly, they have a stronghold on that because they're not even willing to execute the laws in the books. And, well, the Senate's not willing to do anything about it. So they have a stronghold of the Senate. The House isn't willing to do anything about it. So they have a stronghold on the House. I mean, do you guys understand they're in all facets of our government? The progressive left have taken over everything. And look where we're at as a country, $34 trillion in debt. Kids can't pass a basic math test, an English test, 40% dropout rates in college. People can't afford a home. Your grocery bill has increased, doubled in some areas. Your gas bill has gone up, what, like 20, 30, 40, 50% in some areas? Maybe that's a little egregious, 50%, but you understand what I'm saying. This is all because of the progressive left Democrat Party. It's not Republican. The jury selection will resume in the former president's criminal trial in Manhattan. There's a lot of things even going on with the jurors. So we'll see what happens with Trump, you guys, but this has gone political. If he gets tried and convicted, or not tried, rather, he is getting tried, convicted, I can see lawlessness happening because, again, if they're willing to do this to a former sitting president, it just opens the doorways for you. And by the way, the Democrats open the doorways for Republicans to do the exact same thing. Trump would be foolish if he got into office to not just open the floodgates on every avenue to Hillary, to Bill, shit, to Hunter, to Joe, to Alejandro Mayorkas, to Janet Yellen, to Anthony Blinken, to Jen Psaki, to Kamala Harris, to Karine Jean-Pierre. I mean, he should be just going berserk. And that's when you have a fall of our justice system and potentially our country, because the Democrats caused this, by the way. It's all Democrats doing. Everything you're seeing right now is Democrats doing. Crime, Democrats doing. Hell, homelessness, Democrats doing. Shattering our budgets on a state level, Democrats doing. Hell, what else is happening? Rising gas prices because the Democrat Party wants to climate change, don't drill. Democrats doing. I mean, go down the list here. The economy was suffering. Democrats doing. What's going on globally is Democrats doing because they're not strong on anything. Joe Biden steps on the podium and says, don't. And Iran's looking around like they don't even know what that means. So they go attack Israel. Democrats doing. Funding Ukraine with billions of dollars. Granted, it's Republicans as well, but it's a lot of the Democrat Party really pushing it. Democrats doing. It's really odd, you guys, that we could just send billions, hundreds of billions of dollars just around the world with the snap of the fingers, but we can't even build a border wall. We can't even build a bridge. It's amazing. It's amazing how we are getting reamed left and right. It really is astonishing. And if you really think about it, we're the idiots. Yeah, the American people, we're the idiots, including me. We're the idiots. Why? Because we keep voting in these idiots. We keep voting in these people. So it's like, yes, sir, may I have another? Is basically what we're asking every time we go up to the ballots to vote, because we keep voting in these idiots. Mind you, I don't vote Democrat. I don't vote Nancy Pelosi in the office. I don't vote Adam Schiff. I don't vote these idiots in the office. And by the way, if I knew a Republican was an idiot, I wouldn't vote for him either. I just wouldn't vote at the top of the ticket. Is anybody else like almost at the point of like, just let it crumble? Just let it fall? I hope not. Because there's nothing else. You know what I mean? If we let it fall, if we let it crumble, there is nothing else. And I'll go as far to say it's specifically conservatives on why this country is still lasting. Because they're probably the last party, if you want to call them a party. It's the last group of people that actually still believe in our institutions and still believe in the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and still are holding out hope. Clearly, Republicans have given up. Look what the hell they're doing. They're not doing jack shit. Democrats, Democrats were gone, you guys, when Obama was in office. That they've been gone for. There is no hope for that party. That party is freaking gone. Conservatives, I really do believe this, and you guys know I'd never lie to you. I really do believe conservatives are the only people that are holding up this country right now. Well, let's get into at least some good news. Holy lordy. Biden admin announces new sanctions on Iran a month after freeing up potentially billions for the Islamic regime. So let's break this down. I've been holding out because you know how frustrated I was the other day with Joe Biden still giving them $10 billion of your money, not going to veterans or homeless or fixing stuff here in America, going towards a country that wants to see you wiped off the face of the earth. I will never be able to wrap my head around it. I will never be able to understand it. I've just come to terms to it or with it. I won't. I've tried. I've held conversations with Democrats. I've held conversations with libs. I've held conversations with conservatives, Republicans, going, can somebody, for the love of God, explain to me why we're giving money to a country, even though there's a separation between the people and the government, why are we giving it to a country that chants death to America in the streets, holds full-on parades and festivals of death to Israel and death to the United States of America? Why are we giving them money in the first place? Like, have you, by the way, just let me know in the comment section, has anybody heard a thank you from Iran? Waiting for it. Show an article, show a news clip. Where's the thank you for $10 billion of our money that we're working for to give to other people that are chanting death to America? Where's the thank you? Still waiting for it. Still waiting for it. Let me know if you find it. I'm dead serious. Let me know if any of you find it, because I haven't. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just looking for it. So on Tuesday, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who's a complete knuckle, I mean, does that look like a guy with the head on straight? He's better than Karine Jean-Pierre and John Kirby. I'll give him that. Well, he announced that the Biden administration would impose new sanctions targeting Iran in the wake of the regime's attack on Israel over the weekend. So let's actually see how in-depth this goes. So in the coming days, the United States will impose new sanctions targeting Iran, including its missiles and drone program, as well as new sanctions against entities supporting the IRGC. Folks, this is nothing. Just a heads up. Do you want to know why it's nothing? Its missile and drone program. They blew their load. Like everything that was on like the west coast of Iran that's closest to Israel was just launched. What program? Like what missile and drone? They don't have anything anymore. They blew their load. In addition, we continue to work through the Department of Defense and the Central Command to further strengthen and expand the successful integration of air and missile defense and early warning systems across the Middle East to further erode the effectiveness of Iran's missiles and UAV capabilities. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's great for defense, but can we defend our country? Maybe build a border wall. Maybe we could put like drones in the air. You know what I mean? I bring that up because the cartel has drones. Yeah, there's people at the southern border. And they're like, wow, when do we get drones flying around? That's pretty amazing technology. And the Border Patrol goes, no, those aren't our drones. That's the cartel's drones. They're trying to see where we're at so they can sit there and pass through millions of people across the southern border. Can't even protect our own borders. We're protecting the Middle East. We're protecting Ukraine. We're protecting Israel. You know, NATO. Like we're protecting everybody else other than ourselves. Astonishing. You guys, I need you in the live chat in the comment section to really let me know. Am I insane? Am I making sense? Does this make sense to anybody else, the fact that we're funding everybody else other than ourselves? And you are working for it. You are working for it. You're struggling to put food on your own damn table while you're paying for somebody else's food to be on their table. Like, we're paying for somebody else's meals, education, officer, and like law enforcement in their country. Like we're paying for all of that. We can't even get our own stuff straight. We are so ass backwards. You couldn't even make this up. Like if you wrote a story 20 years ago, you wouldn't even guess this is where we're at in 2024. So these new sanctions And please let me know in the comment section. I really need you guys today because I'm so fed up with I am so fed up with our politicians. I don't know. I can't put it into words without cussing. These new sanctions and other measures will continue a steady drumbeat of pressure to contain and degrade Iran's military capacity and effectiveness and confront the full range of its problematic behaviors. How? You're giving them $10 billion. Like, what are you doing that's actually going to stop this from happening? So over the last 3 years, in addition to missile and drone-related sanctions, well, that worked out well so far because after they just got done launching a massive drone and missile launch on Israel. So it just shows you that they haven't done jack bleep, but they're going to tell you they have. It's all smoke and mirrors, you guys. It's all gaslighting you. The United States has sanctioned over 600 individuals and entities connected to terrorism. Oh, wow. Wow, that's done really well. Here we go. Although the Biden administration may impose sanctions, the White House extended last month a waiver. Hey, we're going to go after your missiles and drones, of which you don't really have any anymore because you just blew it all in freaking Israel. But hey, here's still $10 billion. Oh, by the way, let's loosen some regulations and sanctions on your oil so you're making tons of money off of that. Dude, you really can't make this up. I mean, again, I know I'm repeating myself. We're not doing anything. We're saying we're putting sanctions on them. I'm keeping it together. Today. In a letter to the Treasury and State Department, 4 House Republicans protested the move. Yeah, let's see what they had to say. Given the Biden administration's posture on the last waiver, we presume that the Biden administration will renew the waiver again to continue to allow for the transfer of funds. Oh, he will. So nothing's happening here. Nothing whatsoever. Under these waivers, no money has been permitted to enter Iran. Oh, sure. That's coming from the State Department. Don't believe anything they're saying. That's a bunch of bogus stuff. The Wall Street Journal noted last November, Iran exported nearly 1.4 million barrels per day in October. This is up 80%. They're actually doing better under Biden. Holy lordy. They're doing better under Biden while they're attacking our allies and Americans. They killed Americans, you guys. They killed Americans, and they're actually doing better under Joe Biden. But Joe Biden will tell you otherwise. Oh, he'll tell you otherwise. Oh, no. He's being harsh on China. He's being harsh on Iran. You know, remember how he sat on, I always use this. Remember how he sat there and looked at Trump in the face going, China's going to eat your lunch, man. Iran's going to sit there and pick you apart. Really? Because everything that Biden and these Dems and these libs said would happen with Trump in office if he were to get elected again in 2020 is happening under Joe Biden. Like almost to a T. You really couldn't make it up. Illegal immigration, crime, inflation. You've lost more money in retirement than you did probably ever, other than maybe 2008. God, I mean, you just go, grocery prices are up, gas prices are up. You got Russia and Ukraine fighting. China's still possibly going to go after Taiwan in 2025. That's kind of always been the rumor in the year. Obviously, illegal immigration. Our infrastructure is collapsing. Our roads are collapsing. I mean, everything's just going down the dumps. Massive looting happening in just all across the nation, specifically in Democrat-ran cities. I mean, you can literally throw a dart at the board and you're probably going to land on something that Joe Biden and the Democrat Party caused. They're not for you guys. They're not for you. And by the way, I'm willing to go as far as I don't think Republicans are with us either. So it's just us, the Patriots. We're all that's left. Who else is there to rely on other than your countrymen? It's getting to that point, man. I'm dead serious. It's getting to that point where we got nothing. We got nobody. We got to have each other's backs. And as Neil says, a member, our boy Neil, we got to have each other's six because you can't rely on our country anymore. You can't rely on the executive branch. You can't rely on the judicial system. You can't rely on the legislature. You can't rely on your politicians. And by the way, that was always the case. Let's be honest. To never rely on them. Rely on your neighbor. Rely on your family. And rely on patriots. And that's why I ask you folks, I'm going to plug it. Grab this book. Send it to somebody. You know what I mean? Get them equipped because you're seeing what's happening. It's a real book, real words. Wrote it myself. Every word in here is by Bob Brad. Would love for you to purchase a book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And also we have a membership over here. 99 cents, folks. It is going towards advertising. It is going towards supporting the show and getting conservative thought out there because Lord knows we need it. And by the way, again, I really do. You guys have to understand a lot of Americans don't get this type of news. They see the gaslighting. All that's going to be on CNN and MSNBC is, oh, new sanctions on Iran. Look what Joey's doing. He's not doing anything. You just saw it. He's not doing anything. He's giving them money. They're doing better than ever. They're doing better than ever under Joey. they're going to gaslight you. And that's why we need channels like myself. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. Dan Bongino, you know, you have the Daily Wire, you have all those other people. They need conservative thought and ideas getting out there. We need your help and support to do that. Become a member today, folks. Pop in those numbers, those digits. Would love your support nonetheless. And just you watching the show is supporting. So please, if you don't feel like you have to do that. That's just me plugging. I don't have sponsors. I don't have a corporation behind me. It's just me, good old Bald Brad. We got merchandise. We got a shirt. Have I showed this shirt live? I'm going to do it. Look at the shirt. I designed it myself. Look at that. 1776 American Patriot, baby. Folks, this is the only shirt I own. It feels good. I mean, look how tight, look how nice it is around it. Oh, yeah, look at that. Right there. Fits the arms for the boys. The ladies, we got ladies wear too. Please check out the apparel online. Baldbrad.com. Check it out, folks. We love your support nonetheless. And with that being said, I'll see you next time here on The Bald Brad Show.